Welcome to cooking cheap, easy, and tasty meals. Today we're going to make gingerbread men. So the first thing we got to do is make the dough. So first we've got butter, which I need to beat a little bit. It pre-softened it a little bit, but I'm going to get it a little smoother before I do anything else. To that, we're going to add brown sugar. Now, the truth is you could probably add dark brown or light brown, whichever you prefer. I actually had light brown, so that's what I'm going to add. There's my light brown sugar. And we're going to add a half a cup of molasses. Now, one of the things I'd recommend is before you put the molasses in the cup, spray your cup with a spray oil, whatever you have, if you have any. And what that'll do is help you to keep the molasses from sticking, even though it is sticking a little bit even at that point. Most of it came out without a problem. But I'm going to get the last little bit of it just in case I need it. Same thing works when you're working with honey or golden syrup. Now that we've got that in there, I'm going to mix those together. Okay, now that's nice and creamy. Now we're going to add in 1 egg. I know you're not supposed to drop an egg in without cracking it first so you don't get any of the shell, but that particular brand of eggs rarely has that problem. The next thing we want to do is put in 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So 1, 2. I like vanilla, so I usually don't measure it, I just pour it in. But in this case, I'm going to try and be more exact. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is finish bringing all this together. And nice creamy mixture. Now, we're going to move that to the side and get a medium-sized bowl. We're going to put 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. What I do is I spoon the flour into the cup and then scrape the top off. I try not to compress it by scooping it in the cup. The flour is funny when you're working with it because when it gets compressed, it compresses pretty well actually, and you can end up with a lot more flour than you meant to have for the recipe. So just spoon it into the cup. Okay, that's 2. And then I want 3/4. We'll do that 1/4 at a time. Okay, that's 2 3/4 cups of flour. This is just all-purpose flour. To that, we are going to add the other dry ingredients. We're going to add baking soda and salt. Baking soda, not baking powder, baking soda and salt. We're going to add the ginger, and we're going to add the various spices, that's cinnamon, nutmeg, and clove. Now, I usually go a little heavy on cinnamon because I like cinnamon. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is mix these up so they're mixed together pretty well. Okay. Now we have the dry ingredients and the wet ingredients. Now we're going to add the dry ingredients a little bit at a time. I'm going to grab a spoonfuls, and I'm going to slowly mix them together. I don't want to have the flour spraying all over, so I'm just going to take it a little bit at a time. We're going to scrape down the bowl when we get nearer the end. But this is a pretty stiff dough. Smells great. I want you to know the cloves, cinnamon, just leap out. Nutmeg too, I assume. I think I smell mostly cinnamon and cloves. If you have a stand mixer, this would be easier to do. But since not everybody has one, I wanted to do it with something. You certainly could do it with a spoon, but it would be really hard work. You can see pretty much is pulling everything off the side. It's coming together pretty nicely. Okay, I found my last spatula. I'm going to just roughly cut this into 2 chunks. There's the first one. Add a little bit more to it. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up. Plastic wrap. Okay, and here's the second piece. I can scrape up everything that's in here and get as much as I can out of it. Okay. So, wrap that up. So I've got 2 approximately same size pieces. What I'm going to do next is put them in the refrigerator for 3 or 4 hours or until I get back to them, because the dough is much too soft to roll right now. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is sprinkle a little flour lightly on top of this. And we're going to take the gingerbread dough, which has been in the refrigerator overnight, although it doesn't have to be that long. It just depends how long I did it. We're going to sprinkle a little flour on top of that too. Now we're going to roll it out. This rolling pin has a gauge on it, the way it's set up so that it'll roll it to exactly right around a 1/4 inch. It's actually 6 millimeters or something like that. So be exactly a 1/4 inch, but it'll be pretty close. Now, take my cutter, get first. Let's see. Well, there's only one. I'm going to have to re-roll it to get more than one anyway. So I'm going to take that. Take the dough out. I'm going to set this on a baking dish. We'll go back to that in a minute. And I'm going to keep re-rolling this to get as many out of here as I can. I've got another roll of it. Process is roll it. You want to do it quickly because once the dough gets warm, it's going to be really hard to work with. You'll have to put it in the back of the refrigerator, but hopefully I'll get them cut before that. Another one. dough is already warming up, making it harder to work with. Now, this is a fairly large gingerbread pan. This is an 8.5 inch cutter, but we're going to make these for children to decorate. So we probably need them to be big enough for their little hands. Anything smaller, they're going to have a hard time decorating. Probably be the last one if I can get one out of this. All right. Yeah, that's probably the last of the large ones that I'll be able to do. So what I'm going to do, try and get a small one. Put one more flour in there. Dough is really warming up now, so it's going to be a lot harder to work with. The flour definitely helps. All right, so I'm going to try and get a small one out of here. Okay, that worked. And get one more. See. We have it. One more small one. Okay, and then I'm going to just make a single cookie out of this one. Take the rest of the dough and just try to make a little ball and flatten it out and make just a plain old round cookie. This is what we have now. Pan, I sprayed. Little spray on the bottom, put a piece of parchment paper on it. I'm going to get 4 big ones and 2 small ones and a cookie out of this. Next thing will be to place them in the oven. The oven is now ready. Got to cook them for at least 10 minutes, but I suspect a little longer because I want them to be fairly dry. So we'll try 10 minutes to start with. See what they look like. Well, we'll go ahead and see if we can't cut out the next batch. Okay, now we're going to take them out of the oven. Been there for about 12 minutes. They look pretty good. Now I'm going to let them rest for a while. And then move the cooling rack. And then put the next batch on. I'm going to set this batch over here. We put them in the oven. Okay, now we have the cookies. We're going to go ahead and move them over here. They've hardened up a little bit. And we're going to move them over to the drying rack, cooling rack, whatever rack it is. Get rid of this. And we're going to bring the next batch over, let them sit for a minute. So basically this recipe, you get 8 large ones, 4 small ones, and 2 cookies. So I probably could get 9 large ones if I worked it right. I may have to cut them different because I want to get large ones. I'm making these for one of my grandchildren's school class. So I may have to rearrange how many because we got to get 30 or 40 of them. So it's going to take a few recipes of this. Anyway, they came out pretty well. I hope you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and give us a like. Thank you.